system. But yesterday we were able to talk about some of the policies. We talked about the users. We talked about Teams app, how you can have your Teams app. We talk about the Teams policy, where you can have your templates created and other things. So now I'm going to skip for now Teams device. So I'm going to go to voice. So like I said, major part would be phone system in Microsoft Teams. So when we are talking about phone system, Microsoft comes in an aspect that you can bring your already existing um trunk, that's your telephone trunk, into Microsoft Teams. Now, what I mean by trunk is your normal let's say some organization, they have their call center wired into their environment. They have a special connection to, let's say, MTN, to Vodafone and other things, depending on the provider. So now in a situation where most of these devices comes with their own DEX phone or landline, which is interjected, or the point of connection to most of these, the internal network and the external is called what we call the session border controller, SBC. So this SBC is just like a mediator between your external provider and the DEX phone. So this helps you to route the call, be it internal calls or external calls. How am I going to put it? Now, our normal mobile phone, right? We know that people can call in and call out. They can dial in and dial out, right? And you can receive the call and other things. So there are mechanisms behind this. You know, for some of us, we saw the mast close to our area. We saw some drums on them. Those are the responder, the signal responder that we receive. So those things have their own technical this thing embedded in them. Now, there are some devices that they have dedicated network, dedicated line that runs just like the normal cable that run into some people's data center or some people switches and router. So there is this core line that runs in from the provider to your organization, which is like a dedicated network. So you can bring that into Microsoft Teams. But now I'm not going to go deeper into that terminology or into more details on that to explain it, because there are a lot of things that in the intermediate and the advanced class you have more information on that. Now, I'm much concerned about you yourself on Microsoft Teams, right? You can have what we call the dial pad. So I'm trying to have that in my environment, but I think it's still taking time for it to propagate because it is license specific. So how do you know that is their part? For some devices, when you come to the calls, you are going to see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just the same way we have on our phone here. And you can type in the numbers and dial out. Now, that's so under the phone system. Yeah, we have the SIP, we have the other ones configured. I don't want to go into, I don't want to confuse us, right? I just want to be basic on it. It's just like we bringing our normal phone into Teams. Our phone, the way it is, you are bringing it into Teams. No, so now, before you can have some of these features, right? It's license specific. When I mean license, is like you have to have a subscription. You have to have like what we call the Microsoft 365 license itself. Or now under this Microsoft 365 license, we have what we call the phone system, right? The phone system gives you privilege for you to have a dial pad. Now, when you have the dial pad, mean that you can decide to now call people within or outside of your organization. Now, having the phone system is not the only thing you need to do. Now, when you buy a phone, when you purchase your SIM, right, there's something that we do. We when you recharge your card, right? You recharge your card. Now, the recharging of your card is now determined by where or which country you are and which country you want to call out to. Now, how do you know about which country you are? When you come to users here, when you select a user, right? I'm waiting for this to load. On the user end, uh, okay, let me go to Entra. So you see it's more on Entra itself. Not exchange. So now on the user ID, how do you know your location? When you click on the licenses and apps, you are going to see the location here. This location is set at the point when a user account is created, right? Majorly when the tenant was created, you will have selected your country. So that country by default, it picks that country if you are not selecting it, which is the one that you select. But you can now click on it and change the country based on where you are or where your customer is functioning from. So for some organization, they have branches across the globe. So user A might be in United States, you can select United States. When you create user B, might be in Mali, you select Mali. User C, so you can select different country for each user, but you can only select one country at a time for each user. So what I have under my account is United States. Now, for this phone system in our country, Nigeria, right, there is a limitation to it because this phone system is moving, is evolving. It's moving based on the country policy. It's moving based on what the country entails, right? The phone system, the National Communication Authority of the country also determine how Microsoft flows. And Microsoft also have to look at the resource capacity that they have for each country. So most times when we are talking about phone system, when I test, I do select United States because there is more of these advancements on the United States end for that. So now the licenses I'm talking about is we have what we call um the telephone system, the Teams phone standard. So this phone standard makes you to have the phone privilege, but without or you can't assign this license to a user if the user does not have Microsoft Teams assigned first, which is the base license, right? For all these additional license, I call them add-ons, I call them plugins because these are additional features that you want to make use in Teams. Now, after you've assigned this license, there's something they call calling plan. Now, this calling plan is like a recharge card, like I said. So there are two calling plans, right? There is domestic calling plan and there is international calling plan. Now, the domestic calling plan is just like you recharging a card only to call people within your country, right? Your own is domestic, meaning that is within a region, is within a territory. So it's domestic to them because it's within that country. Now, if you let's say you select United States as I have selected, you can have this domestic calling plan. So when you want to dial out, you can only dial out only people in United States. That is what your recharge card, that's what the calling plans covers because it is domestic. Now, let's say my organization wants to call people outside of United States. I need to have what we call the international calling plan, meaning that I can call any country, and that means I can dial any number in any country. But now, how do you know how the tariff is charged? The tariff is charged based on the country you are calling from and the country you are calling into. So the price might be different, right? If you are calling UK, if you are calling Mali, if you are calling Togo, if you are, it will be different because they have different tariff charge. right? So let me go back to the admin page, the Teams administrator. Like we said yesterday, for you to go directly to Teams admin page, you have to be a global administrator or a Teams administrator, and you can go from the admin page to select administrator and admin center, and you click on Teams, or you can go to admin.teams.microsoft.com. So now we are clicking on voice, right? Under this voice, now for each person, you can decide to have a number assigned to the user. So this number, two things. You can decide to get a number from Microsoft. This number comes in like this, like your normal number, which I'm going to show you how to get that. And also, you can decide to port your number. Let's say that in United States they have Vodacom, right? And or I think they have T&T. Let you have a number with them, and you are using that number in your organization, let's say for your front desk, and you are migrating to Teams. You want to make use of that same number in Teams because your customers, because your vendors are already used to that specific number. There's something that we call port. You can decide to port the number to Microsoft Teams, meaning that you are taking the number from where it is and you want to have it virtualized in Microsoft Teams and assign it to the front desk officer, so that when anybody calls the number, you are still going to receive it on Teams as expected. Right, that's what we call porting. Just in a situation where I think in Nigeria some years back, you can port from Glo to MTN, from MTN to Airtel, from Airtel to Etisalat. You can move around the network based on your preference, and you are still going to maintain the same number. So the same thing happens here. You can decide to you click on the port. You are going to fill in the country and other parameters on it, right? It takes some time for you to port the number. Also, there's a special support for phone system different from the normal general support. How do you get there? When you click on phone, you can click on anything here, maybe port, hard, or anything. When you click on, you see it here, get phone number support. It has its own special ticket support that routes to a specialized engineer. So here you can decide to port your number. When you want to port, let me use United States, US, right? Now it tells you add the number. So you add the number by starting with the country code, right? When you add the number, if you have more than one numbers, you can have it in a CSV, in an Excel format, where you can port the number, and when you are done entering, you click on next and it goes through the process. Now that's on how to port number. Now on numbers, there are different categories to numbers. When I mean different categories, is based on different usage, different things that you can do with your number. So um when what I mean by that is, or what I'm saying is, for your number, there's something we call auto attendance, call queue, user number. User number is only assigned to users. That means you can, let's say, how to get a number, right? Let's click on, you come to voice, click on phone number, you click on add here, you give it like an heading. I say US user, right? Description, I can have the same thing as description, or now you can select the country that you want to get. So I'm getting for United States. I select United States. Now look at here. You can see user, right? This is where they type and the category of number. User subscriber. This user subscriber means that when you get this number can only be assigned to a user. So you assign the number to a specific user. Let's say that your MDI is own number. You can decide to get a number and assign it. When anybody call that number, it rings directly on your MD's Teams. So two ways, you can call on Teams to Teams call, and you can do SIP, that's dialing process into your Teams. It's going to ring like a normal phone call on the Teams. So this user number is assigned to a user. That means people that you've assigned license to. Now, let me see if I can reduce so that you can have a full view of my screen. Okay, so this is it. This is the user subscriber, right? This is assigned to user or subscriber. You assign it to a user. Now, there's something called dedicated conference bridge. So this conference bridge majorly comes in a situation where a user can dial in into a meeting. Remember when I was explaining how to schedule a meeting last week, I said that a user can dial into a meeting, then you are going to provide the conference ID, then you are going to provide the PIN. So you can have a dedicated number that is assigned to your conference bridge. Conference bridge is just our meeting is like more people coming together. It's like it's a conference call, right? So a user can dial in to the meeting and you can get a dedicated conference bridge. By default, if you have the audio conferencing, it's going to generate a number for you. But here saying you can have a dedicated. That means that you can determine the specific number to be assigned to your meeting when you are using audio conferencing. But if you notice here, there's something they call toll and toll free. And I don't know if some of us are familiar with it. Toll means that you, as the person dialing the number, we are responsible for the charges, for the tariff charges on that call. Meaning that they are going to charge you for as long as you use on the call. Why toll free is the company taking responsibility for this cause. Now, how do I explain? I want to explain it better. Let's say that you are calling MTN customer service. If you notice, when you call MTN customer service from MTN line, they are not going to charge you for how long you've used, because the number dedicated that you are calling is a toll-free number, meaning that the company has decided to bear the cost for the cause. But when you are saying a toll number, means that you have decided to bear the cost, to pay for it. Now, let's say that you now use a glow number to call MTN customer service. They are going to charge you because their tariff or their policy, or how will I put it now? Their terms and conditions does not cover that for a toll free. So now, this dedicated conference bridge, you can decide to have a toll number, which means that the person that is dialing in into the meeting using his mobile number is going to be responsible for the payments. While for the toll free means that the organization is going to be responsible on behalf of the user to cater for the cost. There's what we call call queue. We are still going to explain that. I pray that time permits us. Call queue is mostly used in situation of contact center or customer service. Let me use customer service. Now, this call queue means that if you want to create a call queue, you can determine the type of flow you want your call to be. You can decide to say it's first in, first out, meaning that everybody go available. The first person to go available picks the first call, the second person picks, the third person picks, and like that. You can decide to have it in a random robin, meaning that anybody picks anybody at random. You can decide to have it in different patterns. But I hope I will try as much as possible, because I think we are spending more time on this, but I want us to understand this very well before we proceed, so that when we get there, I won't have to explain myself again. This call queue is just like when a call comes in, it goes into a pool. Inside the pool, depending on the algorithm that you've set on your Microsoft Teams, you assign people to the pool. The people picks the call. So in a situation of contact center or customer service, this happens. So you can also get a toll and a toll-free number. The same definition, the same explanation goes for the toll and the toll-free number. Now, there's something we call auto attendance. Auto attendance come in the situation of a front desk. This auto attendance is sweet. That's why if you call some, I think we are familiar with it. When you call MTN contact customer service, say if you want Yoruba, click 1. If you want Hausa, click 2. If you want PG, click 3. What is responsible for all those communication, even though you are not talking to a human being, is the auto attendance mechanism. Right? It tries to get your classification before it directs you. So it gives you an attendant automatically. This your auto attendance can relate to a call queue, meaning that you can have an auto attendance set, and at the end of everything, it can route your call to a call queue. But a call queue will not route your call to an auto attendance. What do I mean? Okay, you call a customer service for English, press 1. For Hausa, press 2. You click on 1, English. For SIM swap, press 1. To talk to an agent, press 2. When you click on 2 to talk to an agent, it routes to a call queue. It tries to check based on the algorithm, which of the agents is available at that moment. So before they now pick, okay, this person, agent A, call is coming in, you pick. So your auto attendance is the first respondent before you now route to the call queue. But call queue cannot route to auto attendance, right? Because of the flow, because of the area of usage. So when you, let's say, want to get for a user, we select the user. It tells you user subscriber, how many quantity. So here it's telling you based on the license I have, it's telling me that I have 37 numbers I can pick from, and it's telling you the percentage. The higher your subscription, the higher number you can get, right? Let's say 10. Now I pick 10. Look at the percentage that is left. It's telling me I've used I think 20, this is 27 percentage, right? Of what I picked already. So that's why it's showing you the flow, 10 out of 34. So now there's something they call emergency location. So this emergency location, I already have one set up, but I'm going to click on it. So here is just trying to give you, it can be an address that is your company address or your house address. It's just like in a situation where they need to send, let's say, an invoice or something to your location physically, right? This is where it's the emergency address is. You type in the name, I just give it a name. You can pick on your country, United States, or anything. You pick on the United States. It's going to ask you for, you can input the address manually. This is you inputting the address manually. When you input the address manually, it asks you for your streets, blah, 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 another thing. Address that I can pick, I can select it. When you select the address, let's say number 17, 172. So yeah, it's trying to connect to the map and look at the address for you. It said that one does not exist. You can see 17 called this thing. I can check. Yes, telling me this. Here is just for you to check the the error message. This is just a random address, right? That we are imputing. So you can click on next. So that address has been added. Now, if I come here, I can select the address that I have. The two address, this one is the 17, the one I just added, I guessed, and the one I have before. So I can select the emergency address. The emergency address is tied to the number you are going to have, just in case they want to do some trace and other thing. For United States, they have different area code based on your location. So this is 334. I'm going to select that. Then I'm going to click on next. So it's going to take some time, try to check availability of the number, the count, and other things. Then it's going to give me. So I have to get this number between 10 minutes because other people are also in the pool, right? If I click on place order, I'm going to have the number listed in my phone number queue. So this is it telling me your order has been placed. Then I confirm. So if I come here, I can see different number that has been purchased. Can you see? This is the address that I just set for this one. And here you can see the category, user and other things, depending on the number. So you can check. These are just voice. You can see the category, voice app, voice app. This voice app is because I have a call queue and a auto attendance number that I've gotten before now. So this is the user one, the new user I just purchased or I just placed order for. So that's that. How do you now assign this number to a user? You come to a user here, click on manage user, the same way we did yesterday. I come to, let's say, Ifeoluwa, which is the test account I'm using at the moment. You can see up here, say, there's no primary number assigned. I can assign the primary number. So you click on assign primary number. I can check any now call plan. I think is operator. I can pick any of the numbers, right? That you can see the same emergency location address that we set is picked. Select the location region where the emergency may arrive when the call comes from this phone. So this is just, I'm going to assign the number now. So you can see the number assigned to myself. You can see the emergency address. I can also have a private number also assigned, right? I can decide to have another private number assigned to myself as, let's say, the MD. You have a public and a private number. Only people that have access to the private number can dial in. So you assign that as well to the user. That's how you can get a number and assign it to a user, right? So that's so far um on phone number. So route is you trying to, let's say, create a rule from this number. Where do you want it to be redirected to? So you can have it to let's say you are in an organization, you have a team lead or you have an escalation person. If this number is not available, who do you want to be the next level responder? That's how you set your route. Can reroute the call from the current person to another person, right? You can release the number, meaning that you want to give back. We purchase this number from Microsoft directly. Release means that you want to give it up. So you can change usage. You can check the current usage and reassign the number to another person. So you can change the number to another person. That's on this. So I'm going to, because of our time, before we can I'm going to just jump to the call queue and auto attendant. Before we can create an auto attendant or a call queue, there's a call queue and an auto attendance cannot be created or cannot be created on a user account. What do I mean? Like the same way we create a user and you just want to um assign a call queue to the person. For a call queue, the process of it is that you have to start from a resource account. You have to create a resource account, and there is another special license for it, right? Which is different from the normal user Teams license. Let me show you from the admin page. I have one here. It is called Microsoft Teams Phone Resource Accounts. Yeah, this one here. Microsoft Teams Phone Resource Accounts. Now, if you assign the normal Teams to the resource accounts, you will find out that when you try your configuration, we have an issue, because there are some embedded feature that is only dedicated to this resource account, not to a user. And there is difference between a user and a resource account. Now, if you look at my resource account now, if I come to account here, you can see here I have Ifeoluwa, I have reset password and other things. Let me show you a sample of a resource account I've created. I've created this one, right? If you look at the account, it's going to show blocked. I can unblock the account, but because it is not a user account, it is not, you are not expected to sign in with a username and password to it. So by default, when you create it, it's going to block the account because it is a resource account, it's not a regular user. So how do you create resource account? Under the voice, you will scroll down, you are going to see resource accounts. When you click on the resource account, you're going to click on add, give it a name. Now, you have to, because this resource account also creates a username, right? Because you are still going to assign number to it, you are going to assign license to it, so you need a unique username, which is quite different from other ones. So you can make your display name to be, and you can select your domain, right? If you have multiple domain, you'll be able to see that. Now, on this resource account, you should have determined what you want to use this resource account for. Is it a call queue or an auto attendant? So under this, you can see resource account type. If you click on it, you say call queue on auto attendant. You have to be specific on the usage. You can always come and edit it, but you have to be specific on what you want to use it for. So you can't use a call queue resource group, a resource account for an auto attendant. There will be conflict. So you have to be specific at the creation of your resource account. So you create, then you click on save. It's going to create, right? This is the one we created now. You can click on edit, then you can change it if need be, right? But you have to be specific on what you want to use it for. So it's first rule that is created is the voice rule. There's this global. We were going to check the policy if time permits us. So now you now come to the admin page here. If we refresh, time is going. If we refresh, we see we created M3 test M365. This is the one we created. If you click on it, you are going to see that it's showing sign in block. We didn't come here to create the account. We went from the Teams admin center, which tells you that it's relating with the Microsoft 365 and Entra ID Active Directory, right? So when you create that, you can assign license from here. I only have one license, so I've assigned it to this one, which you can see a Microsoft Teams resource account. Now on this resource account, now you can now decide to create an auto attendant and also assign a number to it. Remember that when we are getting number from under phone system, right? We said that we can get a number. You can get a number based on what you want for. Can get the number for auto attendance or a call queue. So now I want to do that of. I want to reproduce that of an auto attendance. You select on the number, it can see here it's licensed, others are not licensed. It's telling you phone number is not assigned. So if you click on this auto attendance, click on assign and unassigned, which means you can add or remove a number. You'll be able to see it's a type of number. We are going to select a call plan, right? Which of the number are we using? I'm using call plan for hits. We can decide to, if it's direct routing, well, it's going to be covered more this operator connect and direct routing will be covered in the intermediate or advanced class. But for the basic, because we've gotten the number from our Microsoft Teams, we use calling plan, right? You select the number you want to use based on what you've gotten. So you click on save changes. So now you can see the number we've assigned here automatically. Now, after this, us on the resource account. On the resource account, you create the resource account, you assign number to it. On the admin page, you assign the Microsoft Teams phone resource account license, which is the agreed license for a resource account. Now, how do we proceed to creation of auto attendance? Still under the voice, right? You click on auto attendance here. It's going to bring us to this page. So we want to create an auto attendance. Like I said, the auto attendance is an automated response that can direct you, just like I've said, like press 1 to A, press B to this, press C to, so it can depend on how you want your organization to look. So we're going to click on add. So under add, we are going to M365 auto attendant test, right? So here you select. Now here is telling you um set up an auto attendance, manage the flow of income calls, no operator person in. So here is based on what you want to do, right? No operator means you can decide. This one is optional. You can decide to have it blank, right? It's not compulsory. This a person in your organization means that person in people in your organization are the one that you want to make use of it, right? So we are going to leave it blank. Our time is going. So time zone, United. Okay, let's use Nigerian time zone. So let's scroll down. We're going to see GMT, UTC +1, West Africa. Okay, time zone. Can select the language. Now, voice input. Caller can set. So here is where you set the voice input. If you want to, people to use their voice for search, right? I think if you've called some people that are using Google own, it will tell you that mention your name before well, for us to route you, right? Meaning that they want to verify if you are human or if you are a robot. This is it. You can use your voice to search, right? So I'm going to turn it off. I don't need it for my own environment. Now you can have what we call the greeting option, meaning that what happens when someone calls your. Do you want him to just ring, or you want a welcome to so so and so? We are happy to have you. Please can you come? So you can decide to have your audio uploaded. The size of the audio must not be more than 5 MB, and the formats, because it is an audio, is MP, wave, and WMA. These are the three formats that is allowed. Any other formats won't be allowed. Now you can decide to have your written in text message, meaning that you can type it in yourself. So have this as your normal welcome greeting. So Microsoft is going to convert it to an audio for you, and the recipient is going to have that when they dial in. Now, in a situation where the auto attendant is not available, what do you do? So this is the call routing. You can decide that when they call the number, it should just drop. This is disconnect. You can redirect it to someone, and you can decide to play the menu. Now, this play the menu is where you have it. If you want to speak to a this, this is where you are going to set that option. So now here is saying that force listen off. This listen on, if you turn it on, means that the user must be forced to listen to all the options before they can select. But if you turn it off, you say press one, you're already pressing your one, it's already going. So, but this first listen means that they have to listen to all the menu before they can make any choice, which is not, I don't think is ideal, right? So but in some organization they don't want you to just jump to it, they want you to listen to all. Let's say in a situation where they have a product that they are selling and they want to use it as a market strategy, that part of it to come, you can put it on for them. So it depends on what they want. So you can add a greeting. By default, under this one, you must add a greeting under this menu. So when you add the menu, you can now assign a dial key, right? Here is when you click on assign, you can say for one, select person operator. You can decide now. Here is, you can, under this one now, you can decide to, let's say, to know more about the organization. You can click on announcement. This announcement is based on the audio or what you set. It's going to tell the person about the organization, because one is about the organization, right? You can decide to have it to a voicemail. You just want that person, let that one just be leaving voicemail for you. You can decide to route it to an operator, because currently I don't have an operator existing in my organization. That's why I was telling you I have to set it up. I can decide to direct it to person in my organization. Let's say to speak to Mr. Taye, press one. I can type in here. How do I check it? I can decide to now have the person, the name set here. People in my organization that have teams, right? I can decide to this. So because this is the account that has license, I can decide to have it. I can add more options here, right? I can say two. Now, another thing, if you notice, right, because I've already used one, it grays out the one, because the option is I won't be able to use it because it's already used by someone, so it's already assigned, right? So you can select and you can have multiple depending on what you want. So here is the audio. You can decide to set the audio. So let me have that one there. So now, directory search. If you want to search within your organization, if people are within your organization, this is where the directory. Or if your core in your organization is based on extension. I know some people is X1 to X35 depending on the organization. So you can search by name or you can search by extension. I'm going to use by name here. We click next, right? This is where we are going to check the flow. So now now under this auto attendance, you can decide to set your working hours. Know some organization on Sunday they only work 12 noon, 12 p.m. to let's say 3 p.m. on Sunday. On Monday, some people work 9 to 5. Our defaults 9 to 5. So you can, this is just a test. You can have it configured. You can see close and this thing within these hours. So you can set that's on Saturday. If you want it not to work on weekends or some specific, they can uncheck them. It close them up. You can decide to uncheck or check them based on your preference. Let's say some people that does not work on Sunday can decide to uncheck Sunday from there. Can Saturday can check it off. Maybe your working hours is Monday to Friday, so you have that. Set up now. After working hours, you can decide to set a greeting or drop the call. Like, can say something like this: "We have closed. Kindly leave a voicemail." You can redirect. You can give them another option, or you can disconnect. Now, the redirection here, most thing our advice is voicemail. It's just route to a voicemail. Everybody understood that this is voicemail because this is what we've said. Can decide to reroute to another phone, person or external. In here, you can redirect to external numbers, right? Select the country code, then you can redirect to a personal number. So this number will be outside of Teams. So if the person is not available, just redirect on their normal phone. Can add the other phone. So when you call the number outside of their working hours, it plays you kindly. But what we set is to leave a voicemail, so we can then that's that. Then you click on next. So here is for you to select whose voicemail is going to go to. Uh, uh, let me check. Sorry, let me check which user has license again. Trying to get. Hmm, I'm going to look at why it's not. Well, I just redirect to a user. Oh, the reason why this is not picking any user is because the user does not have the phone system assigned to them. That's why. That's why I was telling you, it does not have enterprise. Apologies for that. So you click on next, right? Can only redirect to someone that has a phone system assigned to them. So now you can decide to set holidays. Let's say Christmas is coming, 25, 26, New Year. Can decide to have it also. So on this holiday calling is going, maybe people will be out of office, or you want to have a special Christmas, Merry Christmas, another thing. You can add them here, right? When you add them, you set your greeting, you read on. If you want it to be on menu option, you can also set the menu option as usual. And on Christmas, maybe you have people directly that are working specifically for the public holiday, or you can decide to disconnect the call because you don't have people working on what's it called on that day. So you click on next. I don't have, you can dial scope, meaning that this dial scope now, this is where you can customize users group. So you can see which user should be included on organization directory. This is just like a search scope that you can set. All online user can be included. You can exclude and include, add them to the die scope. But this is subjected to if you want everybody, or you have a specific group that you want to exempt, or you want to add to this auto attendance settings. So we are not going to exclude or add anybody. Here, the resource account that we've created. So we can search for it. I think it's M365 auto attendant. So when you select that, it's going to inherit the number, the license on this account. And you can also decide to add multiple if you have multiple um resource accounts you want to assign, meaning that you want um you want more resource, more people to make use of that account. Now we are not going to M36 going to this or the other resource accounts here because they don't have a license. Also, in a situation, let's say you've forgotten to create your resource account and you're just searching, you can click here. This say to add account, search name, click here to create a new one. So you can also create a new account from here. Based on the name, it automatically help you to generate the name that you've used for the auto attendance or for the call queue. So when you've done that, I think we've assigned one that wants you to click on next. So here is the authorized user. So people that will be making use of the auto attendance, we don't need to set that. Let me just pick myself as usual. The lab rat I have here is my account. I select on add. Hold on. I yeah. Just hold on, please. I'm trying to see do I have any other person. Just come to the slide. As I'm supposed to click on submit here. Well, it's graded out. I'm trying to see what I've done wrong somewhere. So majorly when we are done, we are just going to click on submit. I'm going to try and troubleshoot why with the submit button and the next button is graded out for that. So that's how majorly I want to okay, think it's done. I think it was trying to validate that user. So we have the auto attendance here created. So you can also edit, you can delete, you can check the report of the usage of the auto attendance for the past 28 days, right? That's how we can create an auto attendant. And when a user dial this number, the number on the resource account up, uh let me go back here. This number is going to ring the auto attendant. So I think it's 9 o'clock on that. I don't know. Mr. Joseph.
Yeah, Ife, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think I will stop here. Hopefully, maybe in the intermediate class, we'll proceed with that because this is 9 o'clock already, and we agreed based on our discussion yesterday to have this interactive by 9 to 10. So over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I think at this point, I would like to unmute all the attendees so that we can have people speak to the mic, right? So we turn it to an option where all of us can speak. So while I'm trying to get hold of the link to change the settings on this meeting link, I want to say, Ife, everybody may hear you, but I listen to the energy behind your voice, and it's an energy to impact on people. And it's difficult to believe that you are doing all of this just because you want somebody to grow, and this is coming at no cost. So thank you very much for sharing the much you have shared, the much that time allowed you to share to everyone on the call. So I just want to give a summary of what Ife has been saying since
Joseph,
one
sorry,
hour.
before you go,
Okay.
I think my die pad has finally displayed. So this is just how it looks like. That's just what I wanted to say. So this is just the die pad. You can have the number and other things. So you can proceed, Joseph. Thank you.
Okay. Apologies. I'm just trying to sign to my. I'm just trying to sign into my PC. All right. So I'll be looking for the link. So while I'm looking for the link to change the settings on the meeting, I will just quickly explain that when you hear calling, Teams actually is a collaboration hub, and there are, I would say, three items that you can look at when you are looking at Teams, and it is meetings, calling, and screen sharing. These are the three collaboration, activities that you can have on Teams. And meeting, of course, we are in the meeting. It was explained that meeting is a conference call because you have more than one person there. I mean, more than two persons there. It's a conference call. And then again, you have the option to have a screen share and you have option to call. So I think the call part is what we have looked at today. And one major takeaway that you should have from today's conversations is that when you want to call in Teams, you can use somebody's email address to just search for the person and then you can call. And then some other times you want to use phone number to call people. So generally, we can say that there are two types of calling, right? You have the one you do with phone number, and you have the one that you do with email address. So the one you do with email address is what was described to you as SIP, Session Initiation Protocol. SIP call is you using somebody's email address to just call by just going to your Teams. But beyond that, like on a higher level, you have the PSTN call. So what PSTN stands for is Public Switch Telephony Network. So what Public Switch Telephony Network is so for example, you can have your SIM card out of your phone and you can still call the person on WhatsApp. Let's say your friends that have relocated to I mean outside of the country. If you call their MTN line is never going to go through. But you will call the same MTN line from WhatsApp and the line will go through. So what is happening there is that you are not really calling the phone number. So I want to liken that one that you are using another form of identity to reach that person. That is like a seed call. Then if you are calling the person with the phone number using your credit that you bought from MTN to call that MTN number, you can see that as a PSTN call. That is a public switch telephony network kind of call. Now, for you to make the seed call, that is to use the person's email address to call, all you just need is Teams license. Just all you need is Teams license. And then the policy should allow you to do a one-on-one call, either internally or externally, right? But if you now want to do the PSTN, that is using phone number to call the other person's phone number, then that way you need some required license beyond the Microsoft Teams license. That is where you now need to have phone, which is the phone standard. As a user, you need a phone system license. So phone system license to me, I liken it to you having a phone, but this phone is sitting in Teams, just like what if I showed you, where you have the iPad. That is your that is I'm looking at that like a phone. But before you can make call, now depends on who do you want to charge you when you make this call? So there are 196 countries where Microsoft have their own system where you can decide to use them as an option to call, and they will charge you for making those calls. The charges will be going to them,
I mean, I
right?
don't get mo pick phone the old court so me understand cotton so to fit with that 586.
Adeola, can you mute your mic? So this is one of the
Oh, my
reasons why we mute him. So I was saying something before the interruption. And what's that? Can you remind me, please?
I think you're talking about
You were talking about
the countries and Microsoft having.
All right, thank you.
Centers one on.
So yeah, thank you. I got that now. So if you are in if you are in within that 196 country where Microsoft has its calling plan, you can decide to make calls using Microsoft calling plan. You have phone system, which is in Teams, and then you're now using Microsoft, that your billing should be going through Microsoft. So you are paying them for making the calls. But there are some countries where, for one instance, why you will not use Microsoft is, for example, your country is not within those countries where Microsoft has that calling plan license. So maybe like Nigeria, for example, is a typical, example for this. You now decide to check, do you have option for the operator connect that was explained to you? And if there is no operator connect, do you want to like build your own SBC completely? Like you want to set up everything yourself, which is kind of expensive. You can go for it. But if you want to use operator connect, it now means that an organization that has registered with Microsoft to say I can provide calling options for your users. I'll be the one to charge them and manage their phone numbers and stuff like that. Then you can go for the option of, and another reason why people use Operator Connect is if they were already using them for their calling before you are bringing them, then, before you start using Teams, you can bring it on board and then make use of it. So, and then if you are looking at the phone number, there are two types from what Ife has explained to us. You have the user number, which is called the user subscriber number. That is the number you are assigning to a user. Then you have service numbers. So service numbers, as the name implies, are numbers that are assigned to services. What are services? Services are like auto attendance, call queue, or conference bridge. We're talking about audio conferencing. So now, if you look at call queue, auto attendance, or audio conferencing, those phone numbers you give to those accounts or that you use for those services are not the same class of phone numbers that you assign to users. So it means, therefore, that you have two types of phone numbers: user subscriber number, service numbers. So what are user subscriber number? Numbers that you assign to users. What are service numbers? Numbers that you assign to service. What are services? Example, call queue, auto attendance, audio conferencing. Now, what is call queue? Call queue, as the name implies, a queue of calls. Calls are on a line, waiting for you to calls are on the line, waiting for people to attend to them. So you have like a pool of agents that are waiting for those calls to come. Then you have auto attendance. The option there is just people dialing in. So when you hear the word auto attendance, the option there is people call, and then there's a navigation, like an interaction. Auto attendance, like something attending to you automatically to say press 1, press 2, press 3. That is auto attendance. Therefore, call queue, you will not hear those. The call will just put you on hold, and then till the call route to an available agent, then you can start talking, even though you can integrate those. That's why I've dropped some links from Solomon Jeremiah and from myself that we did on auto attendance and call queue, that I would strongly recommend that you check out those auto attendance and call queue, because Ife has done like the best that anybody can do when it comes to introducing people to voice. And often at times when these kind of trainings are delivered, if not 100%, a good percentage of these people, of the listeners, are definitely going to get confused. So, but when you go back to watch, especially because you will have limitation in in terms of setting up license wise, they are not available in developer accounts and stuffs like that. So it's going to be like, what I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. What I do, I know. So that's Japanese proverb, right? So even if if you hear now, you will forget. Then if you go and see, you will remember. Then if you have opportunity to do it, you will know it. So this is what I would recommend, because we can't actually conclude voice within a day or two. Voice itself is standing on its own. If you go and check MS 721, it is strictly about voice. And that is what the whole microcertification is all about. So, I can't thank you enough, because I train on voice and I know the stress it takes to explain those stuff to people. So, yes, all the microphones are on, but I will give the mic to Rafiah. Before I do that quickly, I have about four YouTube channels on the chat right now. One is for Joseph, one is for Solomon, I think. Yeah, one is for Solomon, one is for Emmanuel Itoje, one is for Titilope Bello. We have like 80 persons on this call, and unfortunately, this YouTube and the one for Nigerian Free community, I'm surprised that we have over 1,000 attendees on this call, and we still have less than 1,000 subscribers on every of those channels. Please go to those channels, subscribe to those channels, turn on the notification bell, go and watch the recorded sessions that were there when we round up these trainings, so that you can always get to see what is going on. If you have not subscribed to those channels, I don't know how you are appreciating your mentors, or to be very honest. If I were you, I'll carry those channels on my head. I will not just subscribe, but I'll also look for people that will subscribe, just to show that you truly appreciate the energy these trainers have put in for the past going to 3 months, right? So that will be all from me. I will leave the mic for Rafiah. Please, it's going to be a bit rowdy now. So please moderate, and so that if you want to speak, raise up your hand, make your points known, and then, of course, as you start raising up your hand, it's going to be arranged serially, so we can pick from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 and like that. So yeah, the mic is yours, Rafiah.
So I'm not sure if I still on the call. You guys, I think she handed over the mic to you and Ife.
Maybe Emmanuel can help us to moderate so we can be taking note of the questions and how to coordinate that.
All right, no worries at all. All right, guys. So if you have questions, the floor is open to everyone. This is our last technical class for the year, and by next week, as announced by Rafiah, we'll be having a career coaching session, which I'll be taking personally, just to marry everything you've been doing into how you can use it to apply for jobs, for roles. So if you have questions, just raise your hands up, and or if you're shy of raising your hands up, you can use the chat window, so we can have all the questions answered by our mentors. I mean, if you feel that the mentors are doing an amazing job, I think I should see some reaction, you appreciating them by clapping, because it's not easy. People, this time is not convenient for me. I told you here personally, it's not actually convenient for me to be on the school. But the fact that our mentors are available every weekend to come and impart us, right? I was very being careful of the kind of people the community brings to mentors. You wanted it to be people that are like us, that are willing to give their all, people that don't hold knowledge. When we are learning these technologies, the people that could have mentored us were holding this knowledge, right? So we have to learn them the hard way. So we don't want other people to.
Whatever it is, a comes. Whatever it is, a you. Whatever it is, something coming from the village. Whatever it is.
I was trying to look for the